Welcome to the Susan Brender Show. It's all about you, featuring shows on health and wellness, the performing arts, politics, and people who inspire you to be your best. And now, here's Susan Brender.
My guest was born in Eastern Europe in the northern part of Serbia, close to the Hungarian border. He lived 16 years over there and spent his childhood in Serbia witnessing war crises and revolution. In 2000, his family immigrated to the U.S. for a better future. Today, my guest is in Florida, and he has been a filmmaker and is doing all his film art effectively and seriously. So, I want to welcome to my show, Sasha. Hello, Sasha.
Hello. Hi. How are you? I'm glad that I'm a guest at your show.
Well, Sasha, you work on films, and I want you to tell our audience which films you prefer to script.
Well, I don't really have any strict preference when it comes to scripting films. They're fictions and documentaries. That's how I usually divide them. And they both have their own weight. They both have their own quality weight. Documentaries can open the minds of the people and can communicate things that fiction doesn't, in the sense that when it comes to social issues or when it comes to human rights, when it comes to some things that is not coming out, that it's not covered by mainstream, documentaries can do a very good job over there, and they can promote certain things, for the better humanity. Documentaries are about questioning the truth. They're more about how much there is true in your film, how much there is not. And some documentaries also work very well as propaganda, whatever it's political propaganda, religious propaganda. Documentaries are mostly used for propaganda and for recruiting the audience or trying to change something in society. That's the quality the documentary films have. Now, the fiction, the things that I like about fiction, the documentary doesn't have, is that in fiction you have more freedom of expression. You can be yourself, because you don't have to be loyal to so much to data, to historical facts, to statistics, to numbers, and you don't have to be even loyal so much to the certain issues that happened, in that region with that demographic of people. You have more freedom of expression, and you can create your own world. You can imagine things, you can try to put anything you can on a paper. You actually create your own world. You're pretty much a creator of character, you're the creator of situation, you're the creator of the story, plot, and you're even the creator of how you're gonna push your message to the audience through your film. So that's what fiction does. You're completely your own creator. Documentary doesn't have that, but the documentary has some other power that fiction doesn't. Now, which I prefer more? I prefer right now a little bit more fiction, because in fiction I have more freedom of expression, as I mentioned that earlier. But it's not only that; it's also that I can actually afford to do a fiction right now rather than some serious documentary. Serious documentaries require a lot bigger budget than people think, and I cannot really afford that right now.
Sasha, let me ask you this question. How did you get started making documentaries and films? You're a young man, and I'm sure that it's a very interesting thing to do, but I'm just curious to know how you got started.
Well, everything started completely unplanned. Going back to when I was younger, I graduated I received my art associate degree from Palm Beach State College, and I didn't really know what to choose after that. I was, I don't know what I will be doing for a living and all of that. I only know that I'm a very artistic person. I always liked the art since the child. I mean, I also do some other things. I write literature in my own language. I play the guitar and I compose my songs. I write the poem for my music. I do that as well besides film. But following that, I wanted to keep music as a hobby, more as my other creative side. Writing literature, I didn't choose journalism or writing because, I cannot really translate everything completely. English is not my first language, it's a second language, and I have some issues over there with language barriers. So what I decided to do is that I choose the film when I went in Florida Atlantic University, because about film art I absolutely didn't know anything. So I wanted to learn something new and I find it interesting. But the more I get into it, deeper, to the film theory, film criticism, the classes that I took, I start to like even more and more through going through all these academic years. And after that, when I graduated, when I received my degree in film from Florida Atlantic University in 2012, I decided to commit my time, trying to, to start doing short films. And that's how it started. I picked that Florida Atlantic University, and after that, it went all the way to something that I really fall in love with.
Let's talk a little bit about your childhood for a moment, because you spent your childhood in Serbia witnessing war. Now, that had to be the most incredible experience, and also it must have been traumatizing.
Well, let me talk about that. Well, I didn't really witness I wasn't in Bosnia when that's where the real war was happening. I was a child back then. I used to live in north part of the Serbia, and when a war in Kosovo started, I wasn't there either at the time. But I went through the really that time that country was affected by the war. Even if it's not happening in your region, it's happening somewhere else. It's still there's economical crisis, and the NATO bombing that happened is it's something that I kind of witnessed at one point, and it didn't leave so much trauma on me, honestly, to tell you, as it left something to remember. I memorized that one time the bomb fall far away from my house, like maybe I don't know how far, but it's pretty far. But I wake up in the night and the bed's shaking, and they all woke me up, and the neighbors and everybody, my family, we came outside on a balcony to see what's happening, and in distance there was a huge flame in the distance. But that's the only bomb that dropped in a region where I was. And then after that, there was the war ended after. Wasn't very long war,
Mm-hmm.
It was the battle between the rebels on the Kosovo and Serbian forces, and then it didn't last it for a very long time. NATO got involved, but I witnessed some things I didn't had. I mean, the school stopped. We didn't have school for 6 months. Now that's considering that you're a child. You probably like that, not having a school for 6 months, And,
but under those circumstances, it must have been very important that school did close. And here's another question that I have for you. Did you ever think of making a documentary about your childhood and what it was like to live in Serbia, witnessing war, even if it was just a little bit?
Well, no, I never really thought of that. It will be, everybody see through different eyes, in the region where the war was hardly even occurring, which is my region, where I lived, you have a lot of different opinions. I didn't witness what was happening on the Kosovo. That's where the real chaos was. So, there are a lot of there are already documentaries that are coming out about how Kosovo was stolen from Serbs and how media never really report the truth, about what was happening. There are documentaries that are coming out about that, and there are a lot of documentaries coming from the Balkan regions about Balkan wars in Bosnia or in Kosovo, and there's so many stories about that from many different ethnicities that lived over there, and from many different religions that were involved in combats, and it's a very, very diverse region. Everybody sees from different eyes, and depending also from which part of the country you came from which region. But again, there are a lot of documentaries about that. Me personally, I was thinking of, I have one person that I might be interviewing, and I might be making a documentary film about his life, that what he went through as a young man witnessing. He really witnessed the war. I didn't. He really witnessed the horror of Bosnian war, and he has some really interesting story that I'm thinking of making a documentary about that. And he's up to that. He suggested me that idea. He has some stories that can really shock the people that shocked even me to hear. So that's a different story. I don't know yet about, that's something I have in my mind, in my plan beside many other.
I think it's important for you to document this, because this was a terrible thing that should never be forgotten. And with that said, now we're going to take a word from our sponsor.
Cool off with the delicious treat at FYI Frozen Yogurt and Ice Cream Shop in beautiful Delray Beach, Florida. FYI offers more than 20 flavors of ice cream, frozen yogurt, Italian gelato, sorbet, protein shakes, and more. FYI also caters birthday parties or any special occasion. Enjoy these wonderful treats in our cool, breezy, kid-friendly cafe. That looks good. Can Mommy have a taste?
They're mine.
Oh well. You can receive a free small cone of frozen yogurt or ice cream if you say the magic words, "Susan sent you." Don't forget to pick up a coupon for $1 off your next purchase. They're located at 9 Northeast 2nd Avenue in Pineapple Grove, Delray Beach, Florida. They're open 7 days a week. For store hours or more information, call 561-450-7402. This commercial brought to you by FYI Frozen Yogurt and Ice Cream Shop and the Susan Brender Show. See you there.
And we're back with our guest, Sasha. Sasha, now we're turning again to your artistic goals, and you're wanting to direct your own films. From what perspective is it effective to communicate the message to people throughout your films?
Well, the approach that I did in my fiction film is the thing about the very good, better scripts, in my opinion, and from my observation, from what I see, and versus the movies with, I wouldn't say the bad script, but, the scripts that are not, the scripts without deeper message, is that you will have the story, for example, with a better script, story and the plot. And the plot and the story are about one thing, but the main point of whole film is not even story that you're saying. It's actually story to lead you to the main point, and the main point is something completely else. For example, the story could be about, in my film, let's take example from my film. It's a classical example of script like that. The story is about, and the narrative is about hitman, assassin, who have its own unusual way of killing people. And it shows completely methodology of the assassin, and his job and how he operates, how he gets secretly coded message. It shows everything that he's doing. And it's also, there's also a plot about, everything is very mysterious, but the main point of my film, it's not so much the hitman and his methodology of his work. It's the main point, is the main message is that everyday people that look friendly, that look nice, that look, as a very good people, or places that look safe and places that look secure are not really that secure, safe, and people are not that innocent as they look like in our everyday life. For example, the hitman is picking up the secretly coded message from the pianist in a very beautiful, cozy restaurant, where people go with their kids, to have a lunch and have a dinner. And nobody will even think about that the guy sitting further from them, drinking a coffee, very innocent-looking everyday gentleman, is actually the assassin who picks up the secretly coded message from the pianist. And the young man who plays the piano, for example, in a corner, nobody will say that he actually communicates something with his piano playing to the hitman. So after the hitman picks up the contract, the secretly coded message, he actually goes to pick up the ladder where he finds the contract. He goes to the gallery, he meets the woman that sells the picture, they have a very nice conversation, they talk about art, and he looks for the picture of the artist, and that's the place. And when he comes home, he opens the picture. Behind the picture, he finds the contract for killing people. He finds the contract who to find and to assassinate. Now, who will ever even think that the person who orders the picture in a gallery is actually a hitman who is picking up the contract from the picture? Nobody will think. And a gallery is a very unusual place to pick up, for assassin to pick up the contract. It's such an innocent and nice place to be with. I like the galleries. Now, it's not only that, but at the beginning of the film, you have two characters that are selling the ice cream, door-to-door sales, and they represent themselves as a funny bunny company with their masks, having a mask of the bunny on their faces, and they talk in a very funny language. They mimic innocence. They are very playful people, and they sell door-to-door ice cream. And when the person who opens the door for them turn around to get the cash, they attack him from behind, and then tie him up, and they threaten him and torture him. Now, the same person who has been threatened and tortured is the one who hired the hitman to go after these people. But the message of that is that all these innocent-looking bunnies, they actually are not even that innocent. They're actually members of the sect, they attack the former target who was the member of the sect too, and they threaten him, with, if he keep exposing the secrets of their sect, his family will be in trouble if he report to police what they did to him. They beat him and torture him, that innocent person, and it's really, the whole point of the film is actually to show that everyday places and people that look innocent, secure, and peaceful are not really that peaceful, innocent, and secure. And at the end of the movie, where the hitman picks up the cash, he's picking up in the watchtower next to the sheriff station, next to the children's playground, and that's where the yachts are, next to the little dock with the yachts, and there's a beach on the other side. And it's a beautiful watchtower, it's not very high, very tall watchtower, but it's a beautiful place, and nobody will even think that in a place like that, hitman goes to pick up the key, and later on he goes to a car where he finds the cash. I think so. It actually tells, trying to convey the message to people that everyday people and places that look innocent, secure, and peaceful is not so innocent, secure, and peaceful after all, the way it looks to us. But the story itself it's about hitman, and the story has nothing to do with the message at the end, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little bit, I think those scripts are better ones because they can actually give you a deeper meaning of the film.
What motivated you, Sasha, to do this film? The story is quite interesting, to say the least, but there must have been a reason why you actually decided to produce and direct this film.
Well, the main reason, there are plenty of reasons. One reason is that I really like that I have a freedom of expression, and by saying that, I'm saying I'm not under the contract of every. Unfortunately and fortunately, you know, I'm not under the contract of any big film production company, so I have freedom of expression that I can freely express myself, you know, completely through a film, because it's a very low budget film. I finance myself, and I finance my own film, so I like the freedom of expression that I have, so I use that to freely express myself. That's one of the reasons. And the other reason is that I want to expand my portfolio, and I would like to be able to show something to a people, you know, some of my more serious work, because everything I did before was things that I did for a school project, and this film truly represents me in a sense of story and idea and a plot, you know, and everything, and a message, and the way that it was directed. And I never felt so close to the film as I did in this film that I did as an artist to my own films. I never felt so close like now. And the thing is, to mention another thing, it's also that I'm planning to send this film on the film festival. That's for the short films, short fiction films, and I would like to see how that's going to work out, you know. So that's the third reason. And also, sorry to interrupt, just one more thing. Another reason is I want to bring something to a public that, you know, people don't see every day in a film. So I used so many elements from Soviet montage to experimental films that I inflicted in my film making style and approach. And even I used a little bit of French surrealism, and these are all things that I combine in my film. So I wanted to make it's a little more toward the artistic side rather than toward commercial side, the approach that I did.
And
I wanted to bring something out to the audience that they don't see every day.
Well, that sounds like a very, very interesting film, but I'd like to know what audience, what age are you trying to gear your movie to?
Well, I never really thought of that, honestly, to tell you. It is a PG-13, but I think that anybody from younger to older audience, I would say somewhere from 20 to age of 40, you know, maybe even above, because when I had my premiere at the Lakeford Cinema of my film, I had usually older crowd there, you know, younger crowd. I have a really mixed crowd of people, you know. I cannot really point out that, okay, there was no one under 18. Mm-hmm. Actually, there was one person, but they really enjoyed the film. I really don't know, honestly, to tell you on that question what kind of age audience, but I think it will be appropriate for everyone, considering that it's, you know, if it's PG-13, that certain legal age needs to be there. But there are a lot of people that enjoyed. I mean, premiere went a lot better than I expected. I got a lot of positive reviews and a lot of positive responses. So, and even and mostly from a little bit older people, you know, but there were actually some younger people that really gave me nice compliments. So I really, really don't know. I would say it's pretty much adaptable for every age.
So what is your goal, your next goal? Because now that you've produced this wonderful movie, and first of all, I should ask you, where can people see it?
Well, that's a good question. Okay, my answer on the first part of the question, my goal right now is to I have another idea for short fiction film, and I also would like to work on that documentary film that I'm planning. So it's to produce more films and direct more films and get in connections with the people from film industry, or trying to get at least a job, at least to get my foot into an industry, which is not really, really easy. Let me answer on the second part of the question. People right now, it's not available anywhere. Except it was in a cinema. If I post anywhere online, I wouldn't be able to submit to film festivals, because once they find out that your film is online, they wouldn't be able to. Everybody would reject your film for sure. They wouldn't like to have it on their film festival because they don't want to show something that people can find online. Now, that's very problematic at one point, because if you're planning to send on the festivals, make sure you don't have it anywhere online. And that's something that I heard from other filmmakers that gave me that advice. So unfortunately, I wish I can post somewhere online on my website so people can see it there. But if I do that, I wouldn't be able to submit to film festivals. That is the problem. So what I'm planning to do is to submit to the festivals, or maybe somewhere, I don't know yet, in future make another premiere with maybe more than one film that I did, maybe 2 of my films, because I have an idea for another short fiction film. And if I put together, one after another to screen in the festival, that could be, not on a festival, on a premiere, that could be interesting. But my next goal will be also submitting to festivals to see. There is a lot of rejections until you get accepted somewhere, but I think it's going to work fine.
Which brings me to the question of the obstacles and the difficulties that you're going through as a small independent film director.
There is plenty of them. One of the obstacles is that financing your film is very, very difficult. You have to be really creative. Some people have very fancy cameras and have a lot of money, but they are not very creative with their ideas. They don't know what to do with they don't have any ideas. So the challenging is developing very creative ideas, something you can do creatively with a very low budget, And other thing is, in terms of financing the money, it's very hard. You have to, if you want to have a very good equipment, recording equipment, make sure you have money to invest in that. If you want to have a big choice of actors, make sure you can pay. My actors did it for free, and I'm really glad that they helped me out. It's financing film. It's a very, very hard, especially if you are independent filmmaker like me, and there are plenty of others so it's not only that don't really have enough money to finance their own films, but it's not only budget that you're going to be struggling as independent filmmaker. You're going to be struggling also with, not having maybe connections with certain people who can maybe help you promote you better, or not having somebody who can help you get a door into a film industry. That could be another challenge. And it's another challenge is also that you will have to deal with people who are not always available for your film. You might, for example, I was chasing actors for 4 months to do one scene that it's a little bit longer than 3 minutes for 4 months, and they were hardly available, so because they don't make a living out of the acting, they do that to help me out, and I really appreciate that time, but I needed to be really, really patient, so you don't have a lot of choices in terms of
If you had to do it again, Sasha, would you?
If I have to record...
If you had to make your films, be a filmmaker, would you choose to do it again?
Oh, yes. As I said, I'm planning to make more films, and I'm planning to direct more films, And the thing is, the another challenge that I had was that I needed to do so many things on my own. I was scriptwriter, I was director, I was editor, I was, producer, and putting everything on the table, it's a lot of work for one person. I had a helper who was helping me out, my editing advisor, my assistant director, but it's still, with only 2 people in production, it's tough. But I will do it again, yes, for sure. That's, no doubt about that, and I have a lot of other ideas in my mind, and it's a hard road, but, you have to believe in yourself and you have to push.
So if people want to reach you and discuss your film and maybe even support you, how do they do that?
I have my own website, but it's more of a portfolio website. I have my own film page on a Facebook. That's a very big social network. I have the trailer over there, but my film trailer, but the very problematic part is that I cannot upload my film anywhere online. That's the problem. Now, I got the support from people who went on the premiere, but I will have to solve that in some ways. There are actually websites that I can go and show the little trailer of my film, like the Kickstarters. Mm-hmm. And people, when they see that, if they like it, they might finance, they might help you with sending the money, or they might leave the comments over there. But
give our audience your website URL, because there may be some people who are listening to the show who would feel that they really do want to support you.
Well, I just made my profile on imdb.com, and I have my Facebook page under the Sasha Film Director, and I have my, Sasha with my last name, which is BULJOVCIC. I have my first name and the last name on IMDb website. I still have to fix that portfolio a little bit. I just made it not that long ago, and I have also myself on LinkedIn, but that's more for the connections. That's where people can also find me.
Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and you're an inspiration. So I want to thank Sasha for being on the Susan Brender Show. And when you come back, I'd like to be able to discuss with you several other things, and especially to see whether or not your film has been a success. So good luck to you, Sasha, and we will have you on again. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for allowing me to be guest on your show. It was my pleasure speaking with you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Susan Brender Show. It's all about you. Want to be a guest? Contact us at SusanBrenderShows@gmail.com. That's SusanBrenderShows@gmail.com.